tar spot's impact on corn yields could be significant. MFB family of companies honors veteran members with a trip to Washington, D.C., and MFB's longtime board VP announces his retirement. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Tar spot is wreaking havoc on cornfields across lower Michigan. So much so that B&M Crop Consulting's Missy Bauer says some fields look like you would expect them to in November. A far cry from what you typically see in mid to late September.
This tar spot, you can see on these plants, just loaded up with these black specks. So this is a susceptible variety that was sprayed with the fungicide, but probably not the right fungicide, as we're learning here, compared to some of the newer products that are out there.
And with combines running in many fields, Bauer says it appears the impact of tar spot on yields is going to be significant.
From a yield perspective, what we're expecting and already starting to see anywhere from 60 to 100 bushel yield hits in some fields. It's all going to depend how early your crop died. So like this hybrid here has been dead now for a couple of weeks. So things that have been dead, after basically kind of that Labor Day time frame that we're already starting to die, those are going to be the ones that are going to be hurt the worst. A hybrid like this that still has some green in it, we're going to have a lot less effect when it comes to that yield side of it. So where your plants are still green, there's probably still going to be effect on yield without any question, but it's not going to be that large.
Corn kernel depth is the determining factor in how much of a yield hit growers might experience.
So when you think of your yield components, the size of these ears, when we look at them, do the kernel counts, are right on pace for a kernel counts to have good yielding corn. The difference is actually that we did not fill the kernels because these plants died prematurely. So you can see this is a hybrid that was severely impacted by the tar spot, and you can see the kernels are just very small in size compared to one here that has not been nearly as affected. So when you start to realize how important kernel depth and kernel size is for yield, it's big. So if we think about what this means in yield numbers, let's say this kernel here was a 65,000 kernels in a bushel, and due to the tar spot, now I'm at 90,000 or 95,000 kernels in a bushel. You start to run those calculations, you can easily see that this could be an 80 to 100 bushel per acre loss just based on this kernel depth alone.
Bauer says growers should be scouting their cornfields, and there are a few things to look for.
One is we can split some of these stalks open. So I have two different varieties here, both sprayed with fungicides, although two different types of fungicide. And you can see here the inside of this stalk is basically gone. It's all degraded. We've now had stalk rots come in here after the fact that the stalk has all been broke down and cannibalized. Here, this hybrid here, again sprayed with a fungicide, but you can see the bottom two nodes here are still pretty clean. We're talking about not having this cannibalization where these stalks have degraded. The other thing we can do in the fields, and this is really critical for field-to-field variation because this is so hybrid specific, is you can do what we call the pinch test. So we just come out here at the bottom of the stalk and we just try to pinch this together. You can hear that crack and snap. That's cracking and snapping. I can push that together with my fingers. That tells me that there's nothing left inside of these stalks. Okay? They're already broke down. I can pinch that together. So the next windstorm that we get, we're going to have issues, again, with these potentially falling over. The other thing I can do out in the field is what I call the push test. So when I'm standing here by the row, I want to take my hand and I want to extend this all the way out toward that other row. You can see that one snaps off. I do it to this one, it's snapping off. I'm here, it's breaking off there. Here's another one. And as you go through there, you realize that this many of these are snapping off. This is one windstorm away from down corn. So we need to try to get this harvest prioritized as far as which fields you're going to go to first. This is not going to be the season to say let the crop dry down in the field. You need to think about how can you harvest corn that maybe is wetter to try to avoid the disaster that we could have as we continue to have a lot of storms and a lot of wind damage. Seeing ones that are like this is going to be very detrimental. Now maybe another hybrid, I go to these ones here, I'm pushing them over, they're coming right back to me. This is kind of what it should look like. Extend that all the way out there and it comes back. Okay, this one now I'm less concerned about. So my harvest order and priority, I'm going to get to this field first before I get to this field. It will not be in the order necessarily that you planted, but it will be very hybrid specific.
Up next, Talon's Out Honor Flight takes off.
There's torque. Then there's 1,050 pound-feet of available best-in-class torque. There's towing. Then there's up to 37,000 pounds of available best-in-class towing. There's backing up a trailer. Then there's backing up with available class-exclusive Pro Trailer Backup Assist. In other words, there are trucks, and then there's the new Ford Super Duty, the most capable heavy-duty pickup truck ever built.
World War II and Korean War veterans recently took an honor flight to Washington, D.C. to visit war memorials, monuments, and Arlington National Cemetery. The flights serve to honor military veterans and commemorate their service to protect our freedoms at home and abroad. MFB Family of Companies sponsored 15 veteran guardian pairs on the September 18th Talon's Out Honor Flight, which is based in Kalamazoo and part of the National Honor Flight Organization. On next week's Farm News 5, we will hear directly from these veterans about their service and their experience in our nation's capital. Coming up, MFB Board Vice President Andy Hagenow announces his retirement.
At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
The Michigan Farm Bureau Board of Directors is searching for a new number 2 after Andy Hagenow recently announced he would be stepping down as vice president at the end of the year. He served in the role and as an at-large member to the MFB board for 20 years. Prior to winning an at-large seat in 2000, he served as Young Farmer Representative and chaired MFB's State Young Farmer Committee. Farm Bureau President Carl Bednarski called Hagenow a selfless advocate for agriculture. MFB members interested in a spot on the board of directors are asked to announce their candidacy by October 15th. You can find more information on the board and its responsibilities on our website. For more news and videos, visit MichiganFarmNews.com or the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Gross. Have a great week of farming.